Welcome back. This is going to be the last section of the day. We're going to Group B for the match that's going to decide who's going to make it out of the group stage. We're going to have Daniel Opiola representing Europe with his blue hybrid deck going up against Chung from North America, who also has blue hybrid. Joining me as always, we have Gyro Sean. How are you doing, Sean?
I am great. I'm great, Lewis. I am excited for this. I mean, I know Blue Hybrid was a hyped up deck going into this format. Ice Wall obviously restricted, but I think this was the only deck. I'm looking at the lists that were played today. The only deck that two people played it. Every other deck, only one person was playing each one. So I think this one will decide who is the Blue Hybrid, the ultimate Blue Hybrid deck player, right? So it should be fun.
Those same decks, Blue Hybrid. I have a feeling we're going to see very different decks. When we saw Daniel Opiola early on, he had like a lot of Susanos. I didn't see a Magna or Koji or anything like that. So even though they might both be blue hybrid decks, they could still be very different.
Yeah, like you say, we didn't see a Magna. We saw Absolute Blast, two of them, I think, in Daniel's deck. So be interesting to see, like what the difference is. I'll just be interested to see what happens here. Overall though, Daniel is 1-1, whereas Chung is 2-0. So Chung looking to close it out undefeated in this pod bracket, whereas Daniel looking to take a win, guarantee hopefully a top 4 spot. So a lot is on the line in this matchup, the last one of the day of the pod. So I guess I would say, like, what do you think the secret to this matchup is? I have no idea. Do you have any insight into this, Lewis?
I have played a lot of blue hybrid mirrors, and it goes back and forth. It's about managing your resources in terms of like setting up those tamers, but you still want to be aggressive, right? Because blue hybrid is a deck that does not end the game in one like OTK turn. You need a lot of little turns, right? And a lot of that could be like, as I'm taking my chip damage, I swing into a tamer and that changes everything, right? So it's a very delicate matchup and obviously could go either way. We're going to see how Chung can handle it. As for Daniel, his deck was, teched out. We saw those Absolute Blast. I don't know how much those will do against Blue Hybrid, though.
No, I mean, it'll just be interesting to see, right? Like, part of it might be who finds the Madokis and what's the Digivolution stopper in blue? The Sakuyamon? Siakumon. I knew it was some combination of those letters. I think it might come down to like who finds those pieces maybe, because that will be enough to slow the opponent down. That maybe that is like the edge that one of them needs.
Yeah, or it could be down to the Stravimon, right? Like who finds those early Stravis, gets those pieces, and then pops off as soon as they can. Because the blue match could definitely be a race for both players.
Yeah. All right, well, it looks like they are getting ready, so we can hop into the gameplay if you want to join me over there.
Yes, so it looks like we're going to have Chung representing North America against Daniel Opiola representing Europe. Both have blue hybrid. We have Chung at the bottom and Daniel Opiola at the top.
Yep. And let's see who's going first. It looks like the highlighted one is maybe Daniel. So Daniel may be the one starting off here, but we will see.
Yeah, one thing that I can already see is that Chung is also playing the 2-cost Matt. So maybe their lists are going to be more similar than I originally thought.
Yeah, I mean, that 2-cost Matt, it's one of those, having these 2-cost tamers that you can play down, especially in a deck where you can get when Digivolving effects off your level 4s. Like the what's the name
Kumamon?
of it? Well, there's the Kumamon. There's the other one when Digivolving. Yes, that one, the Korikakumon. That you can get those effects. So having the 2-cost, you can on one turn 2-cost Evo stun all in one.
Ooh, Davis actually whiff. You don't see that every day.
Yeah, not a great start there for Daniel. That's not very fortuitous, I would say.
Sanamon getting sent to the bottom. But yeah, like you're saying, a lot of time the power of these 2-cost tamers, especially in like the yellow decks we'll see, is that like, in a way, it's like you're paying 2 memory for a rookie, right? If you're just going to Digivolve right over them. But, they also have effects on top of that. So the little mat could be used to gain some extra memory. Madoki Metamon, as you were saying, is going to be an absolute key card in this matchup.
Yep. I like this though. The 4 memory is perfect start. You can play your Davis, keep turn, play the Strabi, or whatever you draw off the Davis, perhaps.
If I had to guess, his Davis is not gonna whiff.
No. We got another Strabi, a Korikaku, and I think we're taking the Korikaku. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. He already has Strabi without a single level 4 hybrid. The Korikaku seems like an excellent way. And I guess I'm curious how he's going to end the turn. It might be the Sorenjo or the Mat.
I think it's the Sorenjo. It's a bold turn to play the Sorenjo over the Strabi, but I get it.
It passes over one more memory, but the refund is way better, right? Like
yeah.
Not only do you get the
true.
additional memory, but it also has the additional effect of when you're attacking, you can suspend Sorenjo and strip the sources as well.
Especially if you're worried that, like, you might throw the Strabi down and it immediately gets stunned, right? So it's like, why put anything on the board that they can interact with?
Right, and even though you pass over one more memory with the Sorenjo, if you played the Mat for 2, you're kind of giving up a memory anyway, since you just spend 2, but you put them to 3 anyway, right?
Yeah. Interesting. They do, Daniel here does draw the 1 of Ice Wall. We'll see if that actually makes a difference later in the game.
I will say in the cases where the blue hybrid players are kind of like racing each other, Ice Wall is absolutely key. It's the ultimate buy yourself an extra turn card, essentially. Mm-hmm. And Daniel opted to stay in the racing, does not want to bring out the Stravimon. He didn't want to go for early swings, and if you bring out the Kumamon, it's just going to get potentially stripped of his sources, stunned, and then end up being like a liability.
This one, I like bringing up the Madoki here. Like, it probably is going to get stunned, but it doesn't matter. There's a way to send the Madoki back to hand, which perhaps Daniel will do now or at some point in the future, but just choosing to swing with it, though. Okay.
I did say this was a race, and one way to win the race is to start swinging.
That's fair. My gosh. Okay. Bold. I guess the question here is, do you just play 2 more tamers? Yeah.
Set up all those tamers. There's the Tommy. And then set up the Mat at this point.
Set up and just let the Strabi go into raising and then just call it, right? Like, I have 4 tamers. What, you can do nothing to me.
Yeah, you have 4 tamers, and he's already dealt the additional, that first hit. And the fact that hit wasn't like a tamer is a big deal for Chungman as well.
Oh, man, this is interesting. It's just such an awkward... I guess you just play Sora and Joe and pass, yeah.
You are giving up quite a bit of memory, essentially paying 6 memory for the Sora and Joe. And Chungman gets to continue his aggression. We'll see how he wants to spend the memory his turn. Depending on what he draws off of the Stravi, it's definitely going to influence what he wants to do. There's so many tamers to work with.
We got to make some space here. It's a lot going on. I guess you Evo the Strabi.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wonder if he might Digivolve Korikaku with the Strabi. It costs 3 and you don't get the... Ooh, another Tommy. That's good.
Just sure. Fine. Right? But you play the Tommy. You could Evo the Korikaku. It's a bit of an awkward hand, though, given the current matchup. Because, I don't know. Okay, I guess he's choosing...
Evo over Tommy, swing, and then end the turn by playing another Tommy.
I guess Evo over the Mat. I actually like to go Evo over the Mat because the Tommy is about to get stripped of sources anyway, so why waste it?
Okay, sure. You're getting no value out of the Tommy, so keep Tommy there for next time. Yeah, I think this is the way to go because, Korikaku swings, your opponent's at 3 security. You have a rookie in hatching for next turn, and 4 tamers left over still, right?
Yeah, and you're going to get a draw for this. You might draw another hybrid.
Yeah, plus, he has a Hammer Spark. And it's if there's some Madoki Betamon played or something, well, then that's extra memory from the Sora and Joe.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, he thought about that a lot. Does end up going on the Tommy.
I guess to your point, because he has the other Tommy, it's I can just play another one.
And again, if there's going to be a Pokemon, Madoki Betamon, something like that, might as well get the little memory. One extra memory from the Mat could make a difference.
This is interesting. I think you play the Tommy, but the other part of me is do you just play the Madoki?
Well, let's swing first, see what happens, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's an absolute blast. Hammer Spark.
Oh, well, turn's over. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. pretty good Hammer Spark. But honestly,
yeah,
Chungman is fine.
Yeah. You're kind of forcing the opponent up now because it's like, hey, if you want to deal with this, I'm going to force you to raise and deal with it.
Oh,
right?
but he has to deal with it, right? At this point, that's just a little bit too much pressure. Daniel is forced to respond here, and he does have ways to do so. Beowulf looking pretty good for starters.
Yeah, I guess you can Evo. I think he has his own Korikaku. So, or you can Evo the Beowulf, but that
you
would
could pay
cost
3
you the full
for it,
3.
yeah. But I mean, it does get the job done. You get the Kuma back, ensuring you have more hybrids to work with.
I don't know if I want to send the Korikaku back to hand though, right? Like I kind of want it to stick.
Yeah, maybe you could just swing it over.
Yeah, either swing over it or trash the source if you have a way of doing that, and stun it so they can't swing. And that way, on the following turn, you're going to start with 5 memory.
Okay, so we did pay the full 3 for the Beowulf.
Okay.
And he still has options here. Also, if he feels like too threatened that he might lose the game, he also has the Ice Wall. You can always end your turn on Ice Wall and essentially, again, guarantee an extra turn no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a check here. I guess it's a bit more aggressive, right? You can Beowulf either over or Beowulf bring, the Kaze or the level 4 hybrid back to hand. So you can get a check and the bounce.
Okay, either way, you want to tap the Sorijo, get rid of the Saurus. That way you can draw off the Upamon.
Yes.
Yeah, make sure you order correctly so that you get your Upamon draw. I'm curious if you're swinging at security, you're swinging at the Korikaku. What is the game plan here? Because at some point, it is a raise. To catch up, you have to start swinging back.
Yeah.
Like if you just sit there and answer your opponent's board, you're eventually still going to just lose to the hybrids. Just a matter of time.
I don't mind this. I think bringing that, back makes a lot of sense because you're sat there like your opponent's going to go to 3 max, even if you evolve.
It's a nice one.
It's
not the worst.
No, it's not the best.
He ends the turn without having a Digimon with no sources. Beowulf survived. You enter the Korikaku. As far as things could have been, I think that's acceptable.
Yeah, and knowing that it's almost like this Strabi. Do you bring the Strabi up?
Yes. You bring a Strabi out, you swing, take away the sources, get the card draw, and then you could potentially freeze.
And then, then you Korikaku to trash the second source and freeze, right?
If you tap Sorijo, you already get rid of both the sources.
Oh, that's true. So...
Yeah, put your opponent
I think that's
2
the play.
Security. You have a bunch of tamers still.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you see the aggression of Blue Hybrid, combined with the annoyance of taking away your sources, freezing your Digimon so they can't attack. Pretty standard game plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the Sorijo effect. Gonna proc the Kyaromon, draw 1. Well, a lot of players are opting to use the Kyaro instead of the Upamon.
So there we go. We have, it may not matter at this point in the match, but there's the Madoki and the Siakomon, so it's
he's got access to both. Although, with 2 Sorijo, you don't really want to have any Digimon with no sources.
Yeah.
So maybe it might just be Howlin' Memory to freeze the Beowulf. And then
you could
call me crazy, play another Tommy.
Yeah. You can just basically set yourself up on the following turn to go for game with all the extra memory you're gonna get. Yeah, there you go.
You're gonna get a lot of memory. And the Strabimon still must be answered somehow. Some sort of resource must be committed to answer the Strabimon. Where that's, some sort of freeze, but something's gotta be utilized. Yeah, it's exactly the play he's gonna go with. Really solid overall. And now it's really up to Daniel to see if he can somehow withstand this aggression. But that Beowulf cannot attack.
If I'm Daniel, having that Ice Wall in hand, I'm like, okay, this is your time, Ice Wall. Come on out.
Yeah, so for sure Ice Wall's coming out this turn, but it's a matter of Ice Wall and then what, right? Okay, Ice Wall will buy you 1 more turn. What that means is that you want to make it so that if I get 1 more turn, I win the game next turn.
Yes,
but
that's very
can
true.
he do that? I don't know if he can set up for next turn game.
It's tough. He's got several hybrids, so like it's really tough because like you could swing, but you're not going to get him down to a low enough amount of memory where, assuming everything else gets frozen, essentially gets stunned.
Yeah.
One Strabi in the back, you're not going to get there.
Okay, so Kumamon coming out. That's enough to freeze the Strabi and deal with it.
Okay, very nice.
And then he can. At this point, I think you Ice Wall first. Because you don't
just
wanna,
in case you hit a hammer spike?
Yeah. You want to make sure that Ice Wall is nice and cast before you.
That's true.
Potentially swing into disaster. Yeah.
There we go. It's like he's listening to you.
Yeah, these are
like,
some of the best players in the world, of course.
They're thinking.
Okay, Kuma swings.
Yep. Oh, swinging over the Strabi. Interesting. And playing the Madoki so that they can't use the Howling, but he's still going to go to 6, I think, right? With the Sorajo and the Mat?
Yeah, so at this point, he's already going to pass over that extra memory. So I guess the idea is like, okay, well, now I might as well play the Madoki Betamon then, right?
Yeah, fair enough, yeah. And with the Ice Wall in play, you're actually sitting here like, well, I kind of have game on board.
Yeah, he guarantees that he doesn't lose this turn, basically, right?
Yeah, yes.
So the question is now, how does Chung then answer? Because, well, he's got to do something. He can still freeze. Like Korikaku or Tommy that freezes the Beowulf. You swing. Sure, you pay 2 for it, but you also freeze the Madoki Betamon.
Yeah, you have another Korikaku. It looks like he's got 2 in hand. And then you can
howl in the the Kumamon, for example.
Yeah.
With that line of play, you freeze the entire board. Your opponent's still on security. You have Madoki and Racing, and still have Tamers and Hybrids for days.
And also, depending on what you draw, if you draw a Beowulf, right, you could maybe bounce the Madoki back to hand.
Yes.
So,
and here's what I was talking about, where like, yes, the Ice Wall is going to buy Daniel a turn, but since he's kind of far from game, assuming his whole board gets frozen or dealt with, he's just not going to be able to win next turn, right? So,
just a Strabi on the draw there. Nothing... no crazy combo, but yeah, I think you're right. I think it's you won't be able to win the following turn. You're going to get down to a very small amount of security.
Yeah, even though the Korikaku swing here is expensive, I think it's worth doing.
Yeah,
it's still 1 damage.
I fully agree.
And an additional freeze, which is a huge deal right now.
Yeah.
And he has Hybrids in hand guaranteed for next turn, as well as memory, because Madoki Betamon cannot stop Sorenjo and the little Mat.
Yeah, that's right. It's like, I'm going to start next turn with 6 memory again, so we're fine.
Yeah, 6 memory, your opponents have 1 security, and you have Madoki Betamon in the back to, guarantee you're safe against Hammer Spark shenanigans.
Wonder if the contemplation here is probably just contemplating which one he wants to stun with the Korikakumon Digivolve.
Yeah, sometimes it feels bad to attack when Ice Wall is in effect, because like nobody likes to pay 2 memory to attack. But that doesn't mean that attacking is necessarily wrong. Sometimes you still have to attack, right?
I mean, you could either attack security, or actually you could stun the Beowulf, swing over the Kumamon, and stun the Madoki. So that all 3 are stunned with 1 swing. You could do that, but I prefer. I think I'm with you in the camp of I just prefer the aggression.
Yeah, because
just
you can
take another security,
get 1 more security, and then still stun the Kuma anyway with the Howlin'.
Yes.
So looks like he targeted the Beowulf for the stun, and I'm just thinking about whether he's actually going to attack or not. Definitely a lot of different ways this turn could end out. He still has another Davis if he wants to work with. I don't think you want to play Sayako. You don't want to pass over, because Daniel actually has 2 Sorajos of his own, right? So,
interesting. You could.
Yes,
you kind of want to keep.
Attack.
Yeah. Okay. So he's attacking, tapping the Sorajo to trash the bottom of the Kuma. Stunning. I'm assuming the Kumamon. Yeah. Saying like, if you really want to swing with your Madoki, go for it.
Pay the 2 memory for the Ice Wall. It's a Strabi, yeah. He's good. Now the Korikaku must also be answered, but even if it does, you have Madoki Betamon and a Hybrid to back it up next turn.
It's tough, yeah. There we go, and then there's the Howling to stun the 3rd.
Exactly what I was saying, and honestly, it's just too clean. And now I don't know what Daniel can do to get out of this situation. The Ice Wall bought him a turn. It definitely did. But it's just not going to be enough.
Yeah, 3 stunned bodies. One of which, from what we've seen, there's no way to get off the field in the Beowulfmon.
Yeah.
Like, you can't Evo over it to prevent any of that memory.
And this is the thing about the blue hybrid mirror is that, you know, blue's really good at stunning the board, as we just saw from Chungman. But by that same token, now it's Daniel's turn, and like you cannot stun those tamers. So those tamers are going to be digivolved into hybrids, and they're going to swing for game.
Oh man, yeah. If this is really smart with from Chungman here, because weirdly enough, if he had left him, if he'd like thrown anybody onto the board that had no sources,
oh yeah, no, it would.
Then all of a sudden he's going to 5/7, Hammer Spark in hand. He's also got the Susanumon, so there are definitely situations. Yeah.
Yes, so it looks like Hallen's going to come out. The Korikaku will be stunned, so it's been temporarily dealt with. But now, like, what is left, right? Strabby swing.
You know, you dies, but whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's tough.
The aggression from Chungman just worked out in his favor. I like the way Chungman played this. Getting those early swings early on. Yes, they can be risky, but it also led to him winning the race.
Yeah. And it's funny, like the Madoki coming out, like what even insecurity would help you here? Like he's going to start at 6. And even if you're like, oh, Hammer Sparks or whatever, it's Madoki blast. Swinging, nothing happens.
Yeah. Okay, just another Howlin to set up for a potential next turn. But now Chungman, he's got 6 members to work with, Madoki Bedamon to swing with, and hybrids for days. So just like that, Chungman is going to take game number 1. And with that, Chungman is 1 game away from potentially being, 3-0 at the end of the day.
Yeah, being 3-0, moving in from pods all the way to top 4. We're just watching this finish out. Let's see what's in that last security. Let's see. Is it anything interesting? Is it an absolute blast?
Security check.
It is a Hammer Spark, and nothing happens.
Yeah, again, we know he has the hybrids. It's blue hybrid, and Kumamon is going to close the game out. All
right. I mean, yeah, your point there as we go in between these rounds as the players prep is, the couple of small pokes that that Chungman got early game, that little bit of aggression really was all that mattered. Despite just playing a bunch of tamers for like 3 turns, once everything was set up, it's like, okay, cool. One Evo a turn, swing. 1 Evo a turn, swing.
Yeah, I like the way that Chungman played that. Even being under the Ice Wall effect, he still chose to swing, stun the entire board, keep up that aggression, knowing that he had more than enough to close it out. Very well played.
Yeah. This is one of those matches where I think sometimes, both players, I think, played it as well as they could, to be frank. And it's just like, who has the cards in hand given the situation each time? And sometimes that can be a little awkward because you're like, I know there are ways out of this. I just didn't draw the cards in the right order to do it,
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Daniel, he did have the Ice Wall. He definitely played at the correct time. But like I was saying, like Ice Wall buys you a turn. But that means that when you play the Ice Wall, like you have to be able to close the game on next turn. And because Daniel did not have that early aggression, did not have that early chip damage, he was not able to set himself up for that situation.
I mean, it really looks like Sora and Joe is the determining factor in all of these matches.
Oh, because so strong.
Once it comes out in the mirror, in any match really, Sora and Joe, I think, is probably fair to say MVP of this blue deck because it just enables way too much. Nothing can stop the memory gain. Really hard to play around.
Yeah, and looks like we are heading into game 2 here. Once again, we have Chungman in the bottom with the blue hybrid, going up against Daniel with blue hybrid up top. Now, Daniel is currently 1-1 is his record. So winning this would guarantee him a spot in the top 4, I believe. If he loses, we're not so sure. But Daniel, desperate to get this win here.
Yeah, and it looks like Chungman's going first. Opening, he does have the Siakumon in hand, so he can get a free draw. And then I guess early game, do you just give them the 4 memory and play?
You were just talking about how good Sora Joe is. Just play it, right?
I mean, it's MVP, right? You see 2 in your opening hand, and you're just like, all right, let's go. We got this.
Now, the thing about Sora Joe is that while being an amazing tamer and card overall, you can play around it to a degree, right? Like, in the mid to late game, sure, your stuff gets stunned. It's just going to stay there. You can't do much, like, fair. But in the early game, like, you have control. Like, wait, make sure you don't drop a Digimon. It's not going to have a source, right?
That is true. But it's just, it feels like playing around it, it's possible, but it feels bad. Yeah. It feels, because, like, the way you play around it is to not be aggressive. And, like, sometimes you don't have a hand that cannot be aggressive. I do like this, though. He's going to play the Strabi because he knows he has an Evo for it in hand.
Hey, we'll see if he can pick up another Stravimon then, because...
Okay, nice. Take the Sora and Joe, take the Kendo. Nice little hit there.
Yeah, while solid play overall, like Strabi drawing 2 is fantastic. Not Digivolving on the Upamon. In terms of like, hey, we're racing. Yeah, we'll see how that plays out. This is the BT4 Kendogarurumon. He's going to be able to bounce rookies on swing, which is a pretty powerful effect. But as you saw, it does cost 3 to Digivolve into.
This is an awkward one. Yeah, I guess you're raising.
Yeah, you race out, you swing, you Sora Joe effect,
tap Sora and
get
Joe,
the card draw, and now you have this Kendogarurumon that either stays there giving you memory, or is forced to Digivolve into a Beowulf for 3 memory.
Yeah. It's a little... the only thing that's a little awkward now, if you Digivolve the... yeah, it dies. Okay. Because I'm just thinking, like, the Kendo isn't stunned, right? You don't really want to Evo over your...
I think you just Davis.
Yeah. Yeah, that feels right.
Yeah, it
just feels like you just
right.
Davis here.
Yep.
And then now, luckily for Daniel, he does have a Beowulfmon that he can go into to once again avoid giving over too much memory.
I mean, sure, but that Beowulf still costs 3, right?
Yeah.
So you would
it's gonna
put him to 1 and then he gets 2 more from Davis anyway, right? Like.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. So
like either way, Chungman is benefiting.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. that's pretty rough.
Yeah, the Davis and Sora Joe together, making things extra awkward for Daniel, but we'll see what he could do. See if we can find a blue rookie.
He's got the Madoki now. No rookies. Oh, did he draw?
Hey,
nope.
Yay,
we got there. Okay.
BT6 Stravimon.
Okay.
I wonder how he wants to play this turn out then. In terms of memory, it's very awkward. Unless he wants to Digivolve the Kumamon over the Stravimon in the back for 2, and then commit to 3 memory elsewhere, which honestly, that doesn't seem that bad to me, especially considering that the Stravimon has a very strong inherent roll to give you 1 memory when you attack as a hybrid.
I guess you can swing the Kendo, put the Siaku back in hand, and take a check.
Yeah. I mean, 6k against the blue hybrid, likely to survive, I would say.
And then, worst case scenario, you Evo it, right? And then leave your opponent at the 3 that they're going to get anyways. Maybe you can go Kazi in the back before you do that. The Kumamon.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And then spend the 3. Right? Just be efficient with your memory.
Yes.
And honestly, having the Kumamon in the back actually kind of good with the Stravimon.
Yeah.
See what Kendo is swinging into, though.
Oh,
he swung at it.
Oh, he swung over it. Oh, no, he put it back in the hand.
Well, yeah, you can still declare an attack at it, and then the effect will bounce it.
That's strange. That's interesting. Okay.
Because you declare your attack target first, and then the effects happens. So you're attacking something which you're then going to bounce.
I mean, I guess is it a must effect or is it a may?
I think it's a must, but
oh, weird.
What ends up happening out of this is that we're once again seeing a situation where Daniel could potentially be taking those early swings, and he is not. Also, with this line of play, he just passes, meaning that Chungman gets 5 memory because he gets this Sora Joe.
Yeah, I mean, not gonna lie, getting your own Sora and Joe down, pretty good.
Yeah.
But 5 memory right now is so bad.
I will see how Chungman responds. He's got 2 tamers. I mean, they both have 2 tamers.
Yeah.
Security-wise, Chungman's got, 5 to 4 from Daniel. But, that Kendo's still in play.
Yeah, I guess you Evo over one of your tamers here. You could take out the Kendo. Because, to be frank, as long as that Kendo can swing, the Kendo is annoying.
Okay, here's a crazy play. You play Stravi for 3, go to 2, get your search. Then you Digimon the Korikaku for 3. It's going
stun.
it's going to stun and deny Sora-Jo value.
Oh yeah, I do like that. Let's see if Chungman agrees with you and has the same.
Maybe he's on the same wavelength. That's better than that, but that seems pretty good to me. Put him to 1, get card draw and stun. Let's see what else he could do. Like Beowulf, honestly, pretty solid, but I feel like you don't want to give up that Sora-Jo. You don't want to give up that Davis, not yet, right?
Yeah, I mean it's providing so much value. Like you could play another Sora-Jo here. It's pretty greedy, but you could, right? Yeah, you could go Kuma for 2, play Sora-Jo.
I mean, I don't dislike that either. Just put him to 1 in a different way.
Yeah.
You don't answer the Kendo this way, but it's fine. You can answer it later on.
Yeah. Yep. You have like a Beowulfmon in hand, so you have ways of getting rid of it. Yeah. Okay. That's what it's gonna do.
Sora-Jo, yeah.
I will say, I personally, it's a fairly greedy play because to the point we were making earlier, there are ways around this. Like, you could do the security check and then Evo Beowulfmon if it survives.
Yeah.
But I think
swinging. Well, let's see what happens.
Yeah,
and keep Stravi in the back, by the way.
Interesting. I guess wants to save something for like a late game push.
I mean, I get it, I understand, but at the same time, it goes back to the like, if we're having a race, a race of who can do the most damage quicker, and you're staying in the back, not bringing out your rookie, not swinging with it.
I mean, if you're Daniel here, you have to Evo this Kendo because you cannot pass 7 memory.
Sure, Pokemon sounds amazing, right? Until you're like, wait a second, that Pokemon actually cost 7 memory.
Yeah, like that is untenable.
Yeah.
I'm sure a part of his mind was hoping Kendo would hit something big in security and just die.
Right, because now it's like you're forced to Beowulf over this.
Yeah.
Oh man,
and the Beowulf is just getting stunned the following turn, but
yeah.
And I guess maybe that's his thought process. Once the Beowulf is stunned, and if you can't Evo over, I like this. Going for 1 into Korikaku, okay. Because that still gives him an out. If the Korikaku gets its sources stripped, then
this seems
still
much
have
better.
the out.
Like you don't want to go into Beowulf without getting something out of it. This is much better, and he only passed over 3 memory. Well played from Daniel.
Interesting. I think you bring up the Kumamon at this point, right?
I feel like the way Chungman is playing, he's going to he's going to swing.
Yeah, you swing. I mean, you could swing and put it back in hand, or you could just swing over it. But knowing Chungman, how he played the last game, I'm assuming you're swinging security, putting that Korikaku back in hand.
I can guarantee he's swinging security. You know how or like...
With what?
Yeah, it's a bit tougher, but... Thing the play is swing at security.
You could actually... It might actually be smarter to just stun it.
Yeah, so swing, take away the sources. Get the card draw from the Kiaro.
Very nice.
So many cards in hand. Another Korikaku. Survives. So, yeah.
And then you play Korikaku, you Evo over that for 1, right? And then you stun it, and you basically force this level 4 to just stick around with no sources, and feels bad. And
like he could do that while memory choking, right? So it's like, sure, his Kumon's still in the field and it could be potentially frozen, but like it's hard to do that if Daniel only has 1 or 2 memory to work with.
Yeah, I mean, you could also give a little bit more memory if you wanted to Strabimon into Korikaku. You'd give 3 memory.
That might be a little bit too much, but also an option with that line of play. You're setting up not 1 but 2 bodies that must be dealt with.
Yep.
So like, sure, you give away 1 more memory, but get a whole nother body. But I like the idea of just putting him to like 1.
Yeah.
Or 2. Like if he wants to Davis here, totally reasonable.
You could Davis. You could also play a Howling Memory Boost, right?
Right. Or Tommy. Okay, just play Tommy.
Yeah. Just play the Tommy. That's perfect.
Insane draw. Yeah, Tommy, put him to 1. You have 4 Tamers.
Oh, and now you have a Tamer you don't mind Evoing over, right? Exactly. It's just like, excellent.
And because Chungman has gotten those early swings, Daniel is down to 3 security.
Yeah. All of a sudden, you're like, if I don't Evo over this, it's probably game on board for my opponent.
Yeah. Like,
weirdly enough, 3 security and only 1 body. How is this game?
well, he's got a lot of tamers. Okay, we're gonna see, can Daniel come up with something?
Korikaku again, just to like.
Okay, I mean,
you're hanging in there, I guess.
Yeah, keep in mind, like, still keeping the Stravi in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And this Kendo turn into Korikaku is just kind of struggling a little bit.
I wonder, like, do you... this is so weird, because it's going to get its sources stripped again. And... yeah, I like this play.
Okay, Howling, sure.
Yeah, force a Madoki out if you want to stop the Howling on the following turn.
Yeah, and I mean, we're talking about how Chungman is, setting up the Soren Joes, but like Daniel has a Soren Joe too, right? Like,
yeah,
oh, but
true.
he doesn't get the full. Yeah, Korikaku still has a source left over. Ugh.
Single.
Yeah, that means that it doesn't even get stunned either.
Nope, it can still attack.
Yeah,
no.
so. Oh man, that would have been great if Korikaku had been stunned after that. But he wasn't, so now it's. Ooh.
I mean, you're just. I think the Howling is there to just say, like, hey, I'm not going to let you keep leaving me at 1. That's the key.
Sure, yeah, but is it too little, too late?
I mean, if it were me, like, I just swing this Korikaku and that's fine, right? Like, why do anything else? Maybe play a Howling, strip the source.
I think, like last year, I'm going to say that Chungman is going to swing no matter what for sure, because he understands the assignment is you win the race by swinging.
Nice. Yeah.
And then after, he'll figure out, like, okay, do I want to freeze? Do I want to bounce? Like, what do I want to do? And
you know what he could do? He could. Does he have a level 4? He's got another Korikaku. He could Evo that over the Tommy to stun again, and then swing there.
Again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely can do that. And then can end on a Howling of his own to ensure that he has enough memory for next turn.
And then you're down to 1 security if you're Daniel. You're kind of looking down at all of these bodies that you're like, I don't know how to deal with this.
Yeah, you can just see how Chungman does such an amazing job of managing his aggressive resources, right? Like, again, those rookies in the back, he makes them count so much. It's the chip damage that then turns into like, oh, and hey, I have a free swing next turn too, by the way. Mm-hmm. Getting those, checks, being aggressive with the hybrids, and setting up the tamers in the back to continue the aggression.
I wonder if he sees, he might see the same line of play, but I wonder if Beowulf, it's a May effect on Beowulf, so I don't think you would have to, because you could. Now I think leaving him at the least amount of memory, so yeah, just.
Yeah, I think at that point you want to just leave the Korikaku out there, frozen in time.
Now the only thought, actually, this is what is a little weird, is the Korikaku seems to be the only level 4 hybrid he has in hand. So
okay, so because he has that, then yeah, maybe you Beowulf to guarantee you have 1 more for next turn.
Yeah, see if you can draw into it. So we'll see what he draws off of this. Oh, he drew another one. Okay, that answers what you're. There you go.
But yes, I think you were right. If you don't have another hybrid in hand, then you go into Beowulf to ensure that you do. But sometimes you're that good, and hey, you just top deck another hybrid.
Doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. So Korikaku on Digimon is gonna freeze the Korikaku. But hey, I think we swing here. And you know what? If he swings into a Hammer Spark or something, like, totally fine.
You leave your opponent at 1?
Yeah, exactly. And if he doesn't, then you just play Howlin' to ensure you have memory for next turn.
Okay, Tommy comes out and strips some sources.
Actually,
that's big.
Is a big deal. Yeah.
But the good news is he has a way to Evo over whatever gets the sources stripped from underneath it.
Oh, that's
which is huge.
true. If he wants to just end the turn by passing into Bale, which
I think
becomes the correct play then, yeah. Because you still want to deny as much memory as possible, right?
Because then you'll Evo for 3, right? Will you, or is it just 1? I think it's 3 then.
Yeah, it's going to be 3.
Ooh, interesting. Okay,
so he's going to pass over a bit more memory.
Yeah, it's going to go to 4,
but
which is not
he'll
absurd.
ensure that he has more memory to work with next turn.
Yes. Interesting.
I think this is basically saying that, hey, even if you ice wall me next turn, I could still win the game.
Yeah, like odds are you're going to leave me at least at 3 memory, and then I can go to 5. So swing. Even an ice wall doesn't get you there.
Yeah. But I wouldn't have this like just going into Beowulf either, just put him to 2.
Yeah,
Either way, Daniel is in a really tough situation here.
Yeah. Yeah, at this point, that Strabi, it's just been sitting in the back the whole game.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that Strabi could have been potentially 2 checks by now, maybe card draw. It could have been anything, you know? Like, now the Strabi swinging, like, it's too late to win the race, I think.
I mean, there's Madoki,
Daniel
but you can't play it.
A miracle. You already check. Get the Beowulf.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's one where, like, you wish the Korikaku had hit that one. Because that way it would just not be on the field.
Yeah, so Daniel has 4 memories to work with, but he does have the Howling memory as well. So technically 6. Does have 4 tamers to work with.
He could go Beowulf Mon here, right? Kazi, Striposaurus, swing, stun. If he goes Beowulf, though, he could also swing over and bounce something. So leaving him at just one body.
Yeah, see, this is going back to what I was saying in the previous game, where it's like, okay, at this point, sure, you can freeze everything he wants. He can bounce the board, make sure that Chung has nothing. But you cannot freeze those tamers. And these blue decks, they have no blockers or anything like that. So it's like, can you really, you can't stop the Madoki that's just sitting in the back waiting to go for game.
Yeah. Yeah, not being able to not having any way to deal with the fact that there are 3 tamers on board, and you're just like, I can do nothing. But I do think a key would be leaving your opponent without the ability to go to 7 memory.
Yeah. I mean, that would help. But you know, if you look at the board state, like, it's not like Daniel didn't have tamers. He also ended with Triple Tommy and a Sour Joe. The difference is that Chungman had that early aggression. He was constantly, you know, going for that chip damage. And now he's at the state where he just needs like 1 or 2 more wins or hits.
I will also say Davis seemed to also be a big factor.
Oh, yeah, actually, that's huge.
Starting at 3 versus, like, you know, there's Soren Joes on both sides, but starting at 3, you know, did make a big difference, I think.
Oh, for sure. Because, you know, they were both playing around the Soren Joes, respectively. But you can't play around the Davis. And yeah, the fact that Chungman had the 3 memory to work with every turn, while Daniel was constantly being set to 1 or 2, makes a huge difference for sure.
I guess, yeah, Daniel probably just going through all the motions in his head thinking, how do I stop
any way he
game on board?
He's got a Susano, but...
If you don't have Ice Wall, there's not anything you can do, to be frank. Because the one check, if it's Madoki that swings, Hammer Spark, none of it matters, right? Absolute Blast doesn't matter. No. So I think even an Ice Wall, I actually think that's actually game, even an Ice Wall. Because you play the Ice Wall, you swing Madoki, it loses 2 memory. The only way that Ice Wall matters is if you Ice Wall and put the Madoki on the field.
But if you put
that
Madoki,
would give your opponent too much memory.
Exactly. Right. Then you're playing into a Soren Joes and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, I think this is a checkmate situation. Because the howling on the field means that he'll always have enough memory.
Yeah, and to be fair, you know, Daniel is going through all the different line of plays, trying to figure out, is there anything he could do to either stay alive, win the game this turn, or, you know, try anything. But Chungman just played this game really well, and he set himself up for success.
Yeah.
Thinking about the Beowulf, and swing, like you were saying, bounce one, stun the other. Pretty good. Yeah. Not bad.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad line of play. It's a little awkward. You almost don't want to put more level 4s in your opponent's hand, no?
Yeah.
Because, like, you don't know. Maybe they don't have a hybrid. Yeah, but you put one in hand and you guarantee it.
He did top deck it before, and maybe he's thinking like, okay, the line of play where I win is one where he just, for whatever reason, just does not have a hybrid in hand, right? Which,
yeah,
like, it may sound funny, but sometimes if that's your only out, then that's the out you play for, right?
Yeah. Oh, man. It's so tough.
Yeah, it's a tough position to be in for sure. Okay, Beowulf swing. So with the Tommy, he can stun one. Mm-hmm. He is going to...
Stun that. Let's see if he puts it in hand.
He could swing a 1, stun the other. He swung security.
Oh, okay. Maybe he's not swinging at it at all. Yeah. He's just stunning one.
And the thing about the race aspect is that, like, yes, when you're swinging at security, it's always risky. But like Chungman security was what, like a Madoki Betamon, a Beowulf, like,
Yeah, it was not great.
checking those would have not really changed the state of the board in the early game.
So swing here, stun the other one. And yeah, to the point that you were making, just play to the one out you have, which is please don't have a hybrid, right?
Still long in security, pretty spicy.
Very spicy.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't even know if we call it tech at this point. It's cool. I like it.
I feel like at this point you almost have to Evo over the Korikaku here into a Beowulf, just so you're not passing 7 memory. But yeah, not much you can do.
Yeah.
I guess you have a Hammer Spark. You could Hammer Spark. Do you have any other? No, you don't. I was like, you don't have any other 2-cost Evos.
Yeah, or like if you were gonna pass over the 7 memory, then at least play the Madoki Betamon. Except at this point, it's too little, too late.
Yeah.
Daniel really, thinking, trying to see if there's any way he can get out of this, but
Checking the trash.
yeah, and this is why the hybrids are so strong, because it can be hard to interact with those tamers, right? Like you see his deck can very easily bounce, freeze Digimon, swing over them, but the tamers, those are a different beast.
Tamers are just there. They're like, I'm here to stay.
Yeah,
it's fine. The fact that the one thing in raising is the Madoki Betamon.
Yeah.
That, like, if it was a Strabimon, you're almost like, we take the risk. We leave you at 3.
Yeah.
You swing. If you hit a Hammer Spark, you go to 1, and then doesn't matter actually because you're just howling.
Yeah, it would have to be that you'd have to have Ice Wall, and they hit a Hammer Spark, and they don't have Madoki Betamon. But those things are just not happening. Looks like he is going to go into the Beowulf to at least not pass over 7 memory. I think, as we were pointing out early on, the Sora Joes were absolutely huge in this matchup.
Yeah.
Chungman here going into what should be his final turn. His Korikakumons may be stunned, but his Tamers are not.
Drawing pretty simple there. Just swing the Madoki. Doesn't matter if it dies. And then
as I was pointing out, I believe every single time Chungman could have brought out a rookie, he did, and he swung with it. Madoki Betamon swings, it's a Stravi, and that's going to be Korikaku for game. And with that, Chungman is going to take the set 2-0, and it's actually going to leave him at a 3-0 record. Chungman going undefeated.
Yeah, that is 3-0 for Chungman, and I think that is going to be the wrap up to the pods section of this event, of this tournament. So, Lewis, what do we have? What does the scoreboard look like now that we know that Chungman has won that one 3-0? Do we know what the top 4 is actually shaped up to be?
Yeah, so that was the final match of the group stage, and Chungman ends up 3-0. That means that he will advance to the finals. As for the other player, Daniel Opiola actually ends up with a 1-2 score, but I'm being told he is also going to advance. So shout outs to Daniel. Well played. Right. He had some tough matchups, but he is going to make it. What about for Group A, Sean? Who do we have?
Group A, we have Brent Sosa going 3-0 with Lilithmon, with Lilith Loop. It's Lilith Loop, but it's really just Rush, Champion Rush, Eismon. Right? Yeah. But yeah, going 3-0, so Brent also making it into top 4 from Group A. And then Joseph Reyes, who we did not see on stream today, but Joseph Reyes playing Jessmon, also making it to the top 4 with a 2-1 record. So yeah, we got Lilith Loop, Jessmon, and two blue hybrid decks making the top 4.
Yeah, overall we had a lot of different decks represented. We got to see 3 Musketeers, Cherubimon, Yellow Hybrid, but it's both the blue hybrids that are advancing, Lilith, and then as we were saying, the Jessmon. So very exciting stuff.
Yes, yeah. I mean, in terms of all of that, I guess it's interesting to see that Jessmon, which I think is a deck that, obviously it's very powerful. It has the potential to, if you don't have the right hands, it's a pretty tough thing to work with, but if you high roll it, if you find the cards that you need, again, we didn't really see it today, but you can really take any deck down very quickly. And so it's interesting to see that also make that top cut. And I'm excited to watch the top 4, see what it gets paired against. I think all 3 of the decks that it could be paired against, Blue Hybrids and Lilith Loop, I think it could potentially take down all 3 of those. So that one may be sort of that underdog that people weren't necessarily expecting in a BT7 format.
Yeah, at the same time, I can't help but bring attention to the fact that the North American players, both Brent Sosa and Chung are ending at top of their groups. I believe both going undefeated with 3-0 records. So very well done from the North American players.
Yes. But yeah, like we said, that wraps it up. Thank you all for watching the stream today. Thank you for coming out and sitting through all the wonderful rounds of the pod rounds here. We'll be bringing you top 4 on another stream, I believe. And yeah, thank you to all the different competitors. I'm gonna go ahead and name them here. We had Vicente Reyes from Oceania and Joseph Reyes from Oceania. From North America, we had Brent Sosa and we had Chung from North America. Latin America, Kevin Diaz and Daniel Carreno. And then from Europe, we had Daniel Opiola and Sebastian Turan. So shout out to all those amazing competitors who won their respective nationals tournaments and got the chance to play in this event today.
We also want to give a big shout outs to all the commentators. We had Sean and myself, but we also had Huang and Steven, as well as Egman and Espira. So give the commentators a big shout out. I hope that you guys were entertained. We did a good job. And it was some really entertaining games, so it was really fun to watch and commentate.
Yes, yeah, I had a blast commentating, like just seeing the high level play, all of the different sometimes the security checks, I don't know, it was wild. I really enjoyed it. So.
Crazy.
And yeah, thank you to Bandai as well for putting on this event, for bringing us proper competitive Digimon, in a time when it's not easy, and really supporting the community like this. I think I can speak for it. I know a lot of other people are really enjoying the whole Digimon scene, not just in this tournament, but the whole last year, all the amazing events that have happened.
And lastly, a big thank you to you guys, the fans, the spectators, the viewers. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and we will see you guys next time.